Okay, hey everyone, welcome to tonight's Monday night team call. I am very excited and grateful tonight to introduce our hostess and our speaker, who is one of our very own, Shasta Crum. She is a sales coordinator in Kansas, and she is really learning a lot and growing a ton, and is excited to share with us about just developing and growing a positive mindset and a frame of mind that allows us to do our business as well and keep going when the going gets tough. And so, Shasta, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it away.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everybody. I'm a little nervous, but this will be okay. So anyway, I wanted to just kind of start out with what kind of got me focused on mindset so much. I've always kind of been annoyed by the phrases people would use. Of course, my baby's gonna start crying. Sorry. When they talked about mindset and your thoughts and saying like, you think you can't. If you think you can, and you think you can't, you're right. And I always was like, what does that mean? You know, I didn't understand what that meant. And so I really started doing digging, and I have come across a really lot of neat things since I started exploring this thing about our mind and how brains work. And before I do as far as the brain stuff, I did want to share a group I'm actually in that talks about posture. And when I use the word posture, it's not like sit up straight. What I mean is posture, the position I'm talking about, in what you have, regardless of external approval. And this group I'm talking about, you probably heard me talk about before, and it's really my mind's on posture, because I never really knew that was even a thing, that other definition. I'm going to share my screen here, show you inside Rank Makers. And here. Okay, can you guys see that? Good. Okay. Makers is a group that is run by Ray Din. You might have heard of him. He does do training on his other Facebook page, but this is actually a privately paid group. And the reason I like this group is because he does a daily action step that he gives, and then he does a daily training in the group. And it's all focused on posture, and it's all for network marketers. And it's for any company. You actually aren't allowed to share what company you're with. Just the fact that you're a network marketer is why people are in the group. So I was going to talk a lot about this group, but they actually have closed down enrollment for it. It's only going to be open, I guess, every couple months now. So just wanted to share that with you, that I had found that group as far as working on posture. And then another guy that I follow every day his name is Jake Ducey. And I watch him every day on YouTube. He does a daily video. And he talks about rewiring your brain, your subconscious mind, and kind of about spirituality. Now, before I start this video, I just do want to warn you, he kind of comes off as kind of like a hippie kind of guy that you might think is maybe like a pothead or something like that, but he's really not. He's actually very, very knowledgeable. And so I'm going to start the video here, and then I'm going to take my baby out of the room so we don't hear her. So I will be right back.
So your brain is far, far more flexible than scientists ever thought before. It changes all the time because it's constantly optimizing itself, reorganizing itself by transferring cognitive abilities from one lobe to the other, particularly as we get older and older. You know, after a stroke, for instance, your brain can reorganize itself to move functions to undamaged areas. And yet, due to the lifestyles we lead, we tend to not make full use of our brains. So what is neuroplasticity? So, you know, just in case, you know, you've missed, all of the news about changing your life by changing your brain, neuroplasticity is a term referring to the ability of your brain to reorganize itself both physically and functionally all throughout your life due to your environment, behavior, thinking, emotions, etc. So basically, the concept of neuroplasticity isn't new, and it mentions the changing of the brain, and all of those types of things go back to about the 1800s. But with the relatively new capability to visually see into the brain by functional magnetic resonance imaging, which is fMRIs, it's allowed science to confirm that your brain is morphing and changing, i.e. through affirmations, hypnosis, and the law of attraction, etc. So, maybe you've heard the phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but it's not true at all. In fact, the concept of changing the brain has been totally something that's replaced the idea that once you get over 25, 30 or whatever, that you're hardwired like that for the rest of your life. And while it's true that your brain has more plasticity, more ability to change in younger years, it's not true at all that you cannot change it. So basically, here's how it works. There's a term in neuroscience called Hebb's Law, and Hebb's Law says that brain cells that fire together wire together. When you overhear your mom or your dad say, what do you think I am, Rockefeller? Money doesn't grow on trees. Or you hear them arguing about money when you were a kid. In fact, money is the #1 cause of divorce. Or you heard them talking about problems with romance. Or you heard them talking about how you're never going to be capable of that much. Or whatever you overheard growing up from parents, friends, teachers, whomever. What happens is every time that you hear that or you have a thought similar to that, you fire nerve cells in your brain every time. And when you have similar nerve cells fire, they wire together. And that's Hebb's Law. Brain cells, nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So your neurocircuitry wires in a certain way to fundamentally create your reality. So your brain hardwires to fundamentally create your reality within a certain spectrum of reality. So your brain can be hardwired for lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, lack of money, lack of opportunities, people taking advantage of you, not seeing the good in the world, or it could be hardwired for the exact opposite. It literally is hardwired. And due to neuroplasticity, you can change it. And that's why I've been talking so much about the second mind. The second mind's our neural programmer. We created a software designed to stimulate the brain towards the money you want to make, the confidence you want to have, the love you want to have, or whatever it is, all these different areas of life. And when you use it regularly, it literally is using neuroplasticity to wire your brain so it can become a magnet to what you want to attract. It's down below, thesecondmind.com if you want to demo it. But the great news is that basically the reason that you don't have something that you want in life may simply be because your brain has been wired unconsciously for a reality that's less than your actual true desires that you have consciously, but unconsciously your brain's been wired. So how neuroplasticity shows up in your life is the process by which all permanent learning takes place in your brain. Is called plasticity, such as learning to drive a car, write in any language, learning how to cook a certain something, or learning to react stressful around money, et cetera, et cetera. And plasticity is basically what enables people to recover from a stroke, injury, birth abnormalities, overcome things that doctors may have said is impossible. It's things that can pull you out of chemical depression that you might have, or obsessive compulsive patterns. Deep changes is the plasticity of the brain. So all those miracles actually aren't miracles though. They're literal changes in the chemistry of your brain that occurs over time, neuroplasticity. However, neuroplasticity, which is, the same thing that can change your brain, is also the same thing that makes your brain vulnerable to outside negativity, to outside stress and fear, i.e. when the outside circumstances around you are the opposite of what you want, they can program your brain actually, and it can actually negatively affect your brain, which is why you need a software like Second Mind to do it. You can check it out down below. And so when somebody says, well, I don't know why I'm becoming like this negative person, or everyone around you is stressed at work, it's just simply that you have something called mirror neurons in your brain, and your mirror neurons are responding to that outside stimuli. Don't worry too much about it, because when you watch these videos and take conscious effort to rewire it, it's not going to be a big negative effect. But it does show you if you've had negative patterns that you don't want, how they might have gotten. Examples might be when your parents grow up poor, or they're struggling financially, or divorce over money or over love, or when everyone in your family lacks confidence. It's likely to wire in your brain to represent the outside influences or environment you are most often around. When you face negativity and insecurity, it's literally often wired into your brain. But the amazing thing is you can change it. So I just want to share with you a few main ways and takeaways about what neuroplasticity is and how you can use it to actually change your brain, your life, your bank account, your love life, your confidence, your health, and everything that includes what's important to you in life. Psst. By the way, this isn't new age airy-fairy. Law of attraction is literal brain science at this point. So number one, what actually changes in the brain are the strengths of the connections of the neurons that are engaged together moment by moment. So the more something is practiced, used, learned, and applied, the more connections are changed and made over time. And there was actually the Nobel Peace Prize laureate Kandel in the year 2000 actually proved that the new neural connections you make, remember we talked about Hebb's law, brain cells that fire together, wire together, those are neural connections. So if you don't sustain them, new neural connections can fall apart. And so that's why we created the software, is so that you can use it every day so those connections continue to strengthen and you can rewire your brain the way that you want. So number two, initial changes are often temporary. And the reason for that is your brain first records the change, it fires the cells, and it determines whether the change should be made or not. And it only becomes permanent through the repetition of engaging those nerve cells and those brain cells in a new way. And so a lot of times people will try affirmations, try visualization, try to change their life, but they're not getting the results they want, and they don't understand that they're fighting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 years of actual neurological programming that just takes time. But science has proven that literally you can rewire it. The process is called pruning. And that's when maybe you have a neurological wiring in your brain for lack of money, lack of success, lack of confidence, or whatever. It's wired that way. Pruning is when you develop a new program in your brain through, like, let's say if you use myself for the Second Mind. What happens is you're wiring the brain for, let's say, for success, but your brain has been wired for failure and lack of confidence. So what happens is as you engage new nerve cells for success, then ones start to fall. It just takes time. And three, everyone talks about visualization, but actually the brain is changed through visualization or other mental rehearsal in the same ways, in the same processes that you change the brain through actual interactions with your environment. So you don't even have to move an inch in order to have actual plasticity in your brain. As you evoke the emotional response in your nervous system, so nerve cells fire. Now, in my videos, I talk about all these things, about like visualization, the law of attraction, what you want. It's important to know that these aren't just very concepts, that actual neuroscience behind the plasticity of the brain rewiring in different ways so that it becomes easy to create what you want. So this is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. I'm excited because science is doing all these things, proving all these things that this channel is about.
All right. Okay, guys, that's about all I wanted you to see on that. I did want to point out on what Jake talks about as far as the positivity. There's another video he has where he talks a lot about the subconscious mind, and that's why I did want to share with you guys some books that I have read here. Okay, can you guys see that screen with the books? No? Okay, let me try it. Hang on.
If it's a different window, you have to stop.
Okay.
Sharing and then reshare the new window.
Okay, give me just a sec here. Stop share. Share screen. Okay. Maybe now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. All right. So a couple books. Once I actually discovered Jake on YouTube, I really started researching stuff about the subconscious mind. And the first book I actually read on this was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And I thought this was crazy because this was actually, I think, on your book list that you had shared, Michelle, back at the beginning of the year, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And this explains basically your subconscious mind controls like 95% of your daily life. Although you don't realize it, it does. So for example, like when you drive a car and you go to the store, but you don't really remember actually driving there, that's your subconscious mind. And unfortunately, since we live in such a negative society or in world, you know, with the news and everything, a lot of our subconscious thoughts that are on repeat are negative, even though we don't realize it. So we're being influenced by all these thoughts that we're not consciously aware of. And so for me, like right now, like I don't watch the news anymore. I used to follow all sorts of news outlets on Facebook. I don't do that anymore. Also, there's lots of friends I've unfollowed just because all they do is share negative things. And it was always in my newsfeed. And then I'd get caught up in the comments and whatever else, you know, in politics, as even if it's I don't follow any of that anymore. Because it essentially all comes down to negativity, or there's always someone, you know, that talks about the negative side. So once I really learned how the subconscious mind works, you know, I decided to cancel all that out. And then the next book I read, actually kind of this one here, Mind Power into the 21st Century. It talks about the same kind of thing, but it's more of a layman's, I guess you could say layman terms kind of book. It really breaks it down on like what you can do every day to work on changing your mind to be more positive subconsciously. I've only been doing that for about maybe the last month or so. And you got to understand too, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. You might not really notice changes, you know, for a couple months, because like he said in the video, you've got years and years of these programmed thoughts going on. So once I understood the science behind how our thoughts work, is really when I have started to take it seriously. Because before I used to just think, oh, they say be happy, don't worry, and then I always thought that's not very easy, and now I know why. So hopefully this will help you guys. If you're struggling in this area, it'll help you understand why it can be so hard to change no matter how bad you want it. And then this third book here, The Freakishly Effective Social Media for Network Marketing, I actually learned about that through Rank Makers. So that's on Amazon if you guys want to check it out. It's a really great book, kind of gives you a guide on kind of how to run your profile on Facebook without being super salesy and that kind of thing. And then let me stop sharing here because I've got a couple other people I follow. One lady, her name is Jen Mavros. You can find her on Facebook as well. She does a lot of inspirational podcasts, so I try to listen to some of her podcasts a couple times a week. And then I also came across a lady named Miranda Peer. She is the #1 therapist in Europe. in Britain, maybe just in Britain. Anyway, she actually works with a lot of A-list celebrities, Olympic athletes, sorts of people like that, and helps them with, it's called rapid transformational therapy. And it's a type of slight hypnosis that she does. I've just started recently learning about her and reading up on her, but apparently she's amazing, and I have watched some of her videos. So if you want to check her out, her name's Miranda Peer, and then the name of her page is Rapid Transformational Therapy. So if you guys have any questions, I think that's about all I have to share right now.
How do you spell her name? How do you spell her last name?
It's P-E-E-R. Peer. Yeah.
And I put a question in the comments. Does that social media book talk about Instagram or just Facebook?
I haven't gotten all the way through it, but as far as I can tell, it's just Facebook so far.
In the video with Jake, he talks about the secondmind.com.
Yeah, I haven't used that. He does have a free, there's a link he puts in there for a free hypnosis thing he has, and it's more of an affirmation you listen to at night, like right before you go to bed, that you can download and use, and I use that sometimes. But that actually reminds me, the Power of the Subconscious Mind book that I read, it actually has helped me. I pray differently now. I mean, I still pray, to God and everything, but I'm trying to think of the verse, the asking ye shall receive. I always have felt so selfish praying that way, but now that I've learned from the Subconscious Mind book, you ask as if you already have received it, saying thank you for, whatever you're working towards, like say you're sick, thank you for my healing, that kind of thing. I never used to pray that way, but this has really helped me pray differently, and I've seen changes that I want to chalk up to coincidence, but from everything I've read, there really are no coincidences. It's just synchronicities that you're noticing now in your life because your eyes and your brain are open to seeing them. So it's really, it gives me chills thinking about it, like all the things that I've noticed in my everyday life now that I've made these changes. So, yep.
Yeah, I think the most common example is if you buy a different car, say you get a Volvo or you get, whatever, and then you never had a Volvo before, and then you start seeing Volvos on the road. Like
exactly.
You have. It's so weird. You're like, why do I see all the Volvos now? And
yeah.
you never saw them, and it's because it's on your top of mind. It's mental, mental wherewithal, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of law of attraction playing out in a really, really simple way, but everyone notices. Or if you're pregnant, you start noticing all the pregnant people. It's just how our brains work. They always want to connect the dots. They don't want to leave anything to chance, or it's always filling in the dots. And this really kind of links back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago on identifying your ideal teammate on that call, because we really built in profiles of who we want on our team, and really made action toward what do they look like, what do they talk like, what do they act like, why are they so valuable to our team. And so if you really get to the nitty gritty, you start envisioning those people that you want on your team, and then you start to see them in your everyday life, which is really cool. And a lot of people don't recruit up, which is recruiting people who are go-getters, who are self-sufficient, because they don't have in their mind the people with the right qualities that they're trying to attract to their team.
Yeah, it's so amazing to me, like how God created our brains to be like this, that science is just like neuroscientists and quantum physicists are just now figuring out, this is for real. They can quantify it. It's tangible. Not that we already didn't know that, but like linking the science to it is so amazing. And it really is, like, that's why you have to stay positive and focus on positivity. That way, that's all you're drawing into your life. And yeah, it's awesome. So
Yeah, what I always say is what you focus on grows. If you focus on like, I can't recruit, or I can't find any teammates, or I'm not good at raising up teammates, or I'm not good at the business side, well, then that's going to be true. But if you start telling yourself, I am attracting the right people, I'm an awesome recruiter, I can find the best people want to work with me. You tell yourself that, that's going to come true. And it takes time to overcome like those negative thoughts that you've built up over the years. Maybe you've been in the business, but it will start to pay off. Even athletes envision, they talk about professional athletes envisioning their success or their victory in the locker room, like catching the winning touchdown or whatever. I think we should envision our success and, in the tangible way. It's, envisioning getting that call that you made senior sales coordinator, envision yourself walking across the stage at conference, envision yourself, getting that bonus check, and like, what are you going to use that bonus check for? And how, how's it going to help your family? And how is it going to feel? There's so many ways in our business that we can use visualization as well.
Yeah, totally.
Anyone else have questions for Shasta? Nicole said yes.
And you guys can message or whatever Facebook if you want.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it so much. It's very brave of you for leading the charge and, spending your time and your energy preparing for us. And thanks for sharing what you've learned. We can all learn from each other. And so we're just grateful for you, Shasta, and for your time. And just thank you guys for being on the call tonight. Make sure your teammates, if they weren't on with us, make sure they know about this call, that they can find the recording tomorrow in our Plant Strong Facebook group and our Voxer chat. So you guys have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.